Well, good morning. Happy Monday to you. As you can see from behind me, perhaps, I'm sitting in my office preparing a short devotional thought for this morning. And perhaps the devotional thought this morning is rather apropos. It's some words that came from Luke's account of the Sermon on the Mount. And this is what it says. But to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do unto you. That seems to be rather an alien principle these days. In fact, we seem to go out of our way to make enemies of people. What I mean by that is if we have a difference, typically political it seems, religious, whatever the case may be, we seem to want to find ways that we can be against somebody, that we can dislike somebody. I don't know if it's a trend that's increased because of social media. I don't know what's caused this, but certainly what I'm seeing in society counters very much what Jesus said on the Sermon on the Mount. What I want to do is share with you a story today, as I can best recollect this remarkable story that comes out of South Africa. It goes back to the days just after apartheid had ended. And it's a story that takes place in a courtroom. And in this courtroom, there is a small, frail, black South African lady. And there she stands looking across the dock. And in the dock is Mr. van der Broek, who has been accused of basically destroying this lady's life. First of all, they came in one night to her home. She and her husband and her son at home. Mr. van der Broek and his cronies, they were part of the police in a day when black people in South Africa had no protection. And they came in and they took that woman and husband's son. They took him away and they never saw him again. Never saw him again. Sometime later, they came again to this woman's house. This time they took her husband. They took him away, left her alone, until one night they came and grabbed her. And they got her in the car and they took her over to a field. And in the field, they shone their headlights on her husband, still alive, bent over. And as the headlights hit the body of this man, she watched as they poured gasoline over his body and then threw a match on him. And she watched as he burned to death. And as they're doing this heinous act to this man for doing absolutely nothing, his last words were, "Father, forgive them. Father, forgive them." And so this woman is now in the courtroom. And in the dock is Mr. van der Broek, sentenced for doing the very things that destroyed this woman's life. And so it was, there comes a point in the hearing that someone from South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Committee said to the woman, "Is there anything you'd like to say to Mr. van der Broek, this man who destroyed your life?" She said, "I want three things." She stirred this frail woman very, very calmly. She stood up. She said, "I want three things." She said, "First of all, I'd like someone to take me over to where my husband died, so I might gather up his ashes and give him some kind of burial." Second thing, she said, "I want Mr. van der Broek to become my son. I have no family left, so I'd like him to come visit me in the ghetto every month so I can pour upon him what love I still have left. And the third thing, she said, I'd like someone to help me to go across the courtroom so I can take Mr. van der Broek in my arms and tell him that I forgive him because that was the last wish of my husband. And the story goes on to say that through sheer shock, Mr. van der Broek fainted in that courtroom. And suddenly, for the neighbors and the friends and the people who had been put down all those years by that oppressive apartheid in South Africa, these people began to sing, "Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last." Friends, if you wonder what it looks like to love your enemies, I can't think of a greater story than that one. Let's start today by praying for those who persecute us, for those who we consider enemies, those who are unkind to us, no matter how hard and harsh they've been to us. And then let God do the rest. We are a people of love, and let's start with our enemies. God bless you, friends.